Welcome to SpareTalk. This is Rod Weaver. Today is October 24th, 2024. We're going to take a break from the multiple news items and just focus on one story today. And it will be from the Tampa Bay Times from the year 1979. And it will be about the making of a bowling ball. It's according to the Ebonite Manufacturing Company. So we'll get started right now. Okay, the article is written by Lou Fradkin of the Tampa Bay Times. The article title is Precision Technology Goes into Modern Bowling Ball. This is a pretty lengthy article, so we'll just be doing the one item today in the interest of time. There's a lot to the making of a bowling ball, and today's standards are different than the manufacturing from 40 years or 45 years ago. It's probably good to understand the way they made balls before the advancement to the urethane and reactive resin balls that they came out with in the ball breakthrough from the 1980s and 90s and 2000s. So without further ado, we'll get started. In the words of Lou Fradkin, the writer, just before the start of this bowling season, I visited the Ebonite bowling plant in Hopkinsville, Kentucky, to get an insight on how bowling balls are made. The days when you had no choice of type or colors in a bowling ball are long gone. Today, a bowler can choose from dozens of colors and compositions. This is a far cry from the original wooden bowling balls, which were made of lignum vitae, one of the hardest woods known and very oily too. These balls, used until 1907, were easily chipped and became out of shape over a period of time. Bowling balls do not come from giant gumball machines, but rather are the results of chemical processes which are technical and demanding. Bowling balls are currently manufactured from synthetic rubber and polyester or plastic resins. Let's begin by examining the American Bowling Congress specifications for bowling balls. In regard to size, the circumference is 27 inches maximum, and the minimum is 26.7 inches in circumference. That translates to a diameter of 8.595 for the maximum width and 8.5 for the minimum. In regard to roundness, the specification just says 0.005 plus or minus the maximum. I guess what that's saying is give or take 5 1/1000ths of an inch. The weight is 16 pounds, and the balance after drilling for balls that are 10 pounds or more, the balance is not more than 3 ounces difference between the top of the ball, which is the finger hole side, and the bottom, which is the solid side opposite the finger holes. Not more than 1 ounce difference between the sides to the right and left of the finger holes, or between the sides in front and back of the finger holes. For balls that are less than 10 pounds, a 3/4 ounce maximum difference between the top and the bottom, a 3/4 ounce difference between the right and left, as well as the front and back. In regard to hardness, the surface hardness of bowling balls shall not be less than a 72 durometer measurement on a D scale. remember the Don McCune and his soak ball. The soak balls we referred to in an earlier video. All bowling balls have three components: core, weight block, and cover veneer. The core, in addition to filling the center and supporting the cover of the ball, provides the means for weight control. Each core formula is designed to give the finished ball weight desired. As an example, in an Ebonite rubber ball, the core for a 16-pound ball is all rubber, but it is necessary to substitute some cork or other filler materials for a portion of the rubber. It makes balls lighter than 16 pounds. A weight block is used principally to control the balance of the ball after drilling by compensating for the weight removed for the finger and thumb holes. The cover, or veneer, provides a finished surface that gives the ball its performance characteristics, such as traction and true roll. Although the rubber and plastic balls are identical in size, weight, roundness, and balance requirements, the manufacturing process is quite different for each, with the exception of the finishing operation, which, for the most part, is the same. Rubber balls begin at the Banbury, which is a huge mixer where the raw materials for a particular formula are heated and blended to produce the sheets of synthetic rubber for the core or cover stock. Manufacturers have many different formulas for each type of rubber stock. In the next step of the process, core stock is moved to the core making department, where it is further milled, blended with fillers as required, and placed in core molds and transferred to the vulcanizer units for curing. After curing, cores are aged for a period of time and then machined by lathe to the exact size requirement. The final step in making a rubber ball is the selection of a veneer or cover stock, milling it to the proper temperature, cutting it into pies, and placing a pie in the bottom mold half, adding a core and weight block, and finally placing a pie or pies in the upper mold half. The loaded molds are then transferred to the vulcanizers for cure. The curing action is accomplished for both cores and covers by using high-pressure steam heat and using sulfur in the formula as the cross-linking or curing agent. Plastic or polyester balls and cores are cast in molds from liquid resins and solids using peroxide for the curing agent. When cobalt is added to the resin, filler in peroxide mixture, heat is generated and curing or cross-linking occurs. Cores are produced by mixing a specially formulated polyester core resin with fillers such as calcium carbonate and or cork plus peroxide and cobalt. This mixture is then poured into the core molds and allowed to gel and cure. As with the rubber core, the plastic cores are demolded and placed in storage to age. After aging, they are machined by lathe to exact size. In the next step, cores are selected for the desired weight and a core pinhole is drilled into the core to a precise depth. The plastic ball mold has a pin to center and hold it in the centered position until the ball is cast and cured. The final step is the mixing of the veneer resin with peroxide, cobalt, synthetic pearl, and color pigments, and filling the prepared molds with this mixture. The filled Molds are then stored until gelation and cure have taken place. Each ball enters the finish department oversized and must be lathed or centerless ground, usually in two different steps called a rough cut and finish cut, to the correct size. After size has been attained, the balls are sent to the buffing operation where they are buffed and polished to give the ball a uniform surface. The ball is then placed in an air spotter to determine the exact center of gravity, which you must know to properly drill the ball. Engraving of the logo and serial numbers is next, and this engraving is located precisely around the center of gravity spot. The logo identifies the product and assists the driller in properly positioning the grip. Every ball is given a severe impact test by bouncing it several times from a height of 6 feet or more on a solid steel plate. If the ball can pass this test, it can take a terrific beating. A final polish is given the ball, and then it is packed in an individual carton with the exact weight, top weight, color, and serial number for that ball printed on the label. Balls are then master packed, 4 of a weight and color, to the master carton and ready for shipment. So that's a pretty interesting process that the typical 10-pin ball goes through. And I guess that's all we'll do for today. Thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button if you'd like to be notified of videos like this one that are upcoming. Have a good day.